Good evening and welcome to Ghana Shot. We're going to discuss the future of this nuclear beggar next door. He's been given a nice walloping, and I've just finished seeing. That's why I delayed this program for today. I just finished seeing the DGMO's brief. After that, I am now completely, convinced that Pakistan is naked. It's lying naked, and I'll ask Hari Mohan to, explain what I meant. He knows. We're discussing this offline. Look, Pakistan is in a funny state. There was this article which said, Pak Air Force is the king of the skies, or something like that. So this king of the sky, he can go up in the air. Unfortunately, he can't come down. Why? All his airfields are not there anymore. He's gone up. He is undisputed king of the skies. He can keep loafing around there. And how much will he loaf around there? Fuel hai nahi. Fuel है नहीं नीचे आ नहीं सकता तो what's his status? He's got some nuclear weapons down below with which he can keep begging. And that's why I said, future of a nuclear beggar today. What I want today to do is I'd request General Hari Mohan to, most of you wouldn't understand the impact of this HQ9 going off and this PL9 going off and all that. What is the significance of this? What is the significance of this air defense not working? What is the significance of this plastering he's got at most of his air bases? What is the significance on ground ops? These are the few things which I think you must understand. And General Hari Mohan was the Chief of Staff of Northern Command. He's played war games, and actual situations. I'm not talking war games for sake of war games. These are actual, op-oriented war games, which is logical and that's the way army functions. He'll tell you what's the impact of this, what we have done, and where today Pakistan stands. As a corollary to this, where does China stand? We'll spend about 10 odd minutes on this, General Hari, and then we will take up what is the future of this fellow. Okay? Over to you, all yours.
Thank you, sir. Good to be back on your show again. I will start from where I left last time. So I'll just take a call. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah. No problem.
Hello. No show. Okay.
Yeah.
So good thing is my thing is cancelled, so we can stay on. Sir.
Yeah, no problems. No issue.
So, what I was saying is I'll start from where we left last time. If you recollect, I had spoken about the military options that were available to India in the last interaction we had on this channel. And in the first one, I said a symbolic counter hit, which I felt would be much bigger than what you saw in the surgical strike or the airstrikes. If the escalatory ladder goes up, I said it will open up the line of control because the Shimla agreement has gone out. And thereafter, I gave two more options, which we will keep it for later. Let's look at what happened on the 7th of May. And I will like to say this, that it is beyond my expectations. I never expected that such a large target swath will be taken. And for your audience, we should understand that it involves 3 land commands and 2 air commands. That is the kind of area frontage we are talking about. Right from the command at Jaipur to the command in Udhampur and the air commands, 2 of them. The aircrafts have moved from multiple bases inside the country. And in a coordinated manner in 27 odd minutes, we have delivered a killing blow to 9 different targets. And I must say this, some of these targets, especially the ones in the POK, they are not new to me. I have seen them. We have been following these targets. They were the targets, and the audience should understand there is a difference between a terrorist launch pad a terrorist training site, and a terrorist harbor. So there are three different levels in which a terrorist moves, and we keep a note on who's moving where, and we try and finish him off before he clears the launch pad. So that is the basic idea, that even if he comes to the launch pad, he is not allowed to come inside India. So what I want to tell you is that these targets were not chosen in the period between 22nd of April and 7th of May.
Oh, they're there
These,
from long.
these were there all over. We were only updating them. And today we have such fantastic satellite coverage that we can the precision in which we can fix our DPMIs. When I said DMPIs is the designated mean point of impact,
Mean point of impact.
where we want the shell to actually land. We can fix it to an accuracy of 1 meter. So this is an ongoing process. We have been following it, and we have multiple vectors which can go and carry out this task. So it is a well organized. That's why when I said that we know we can, we could have delivered this hit on 23rd of April also if we wanted. But then I guess the government decided to, plan everything, put things in place, and then respond. And like I said, we responded in the entire spectrum of the CNP, where there was a diplomatic level, there was economic issues, there were some info campaigns which went down, and we also had a kinetic military campaign which went in the last 3 days. So, and this was known to him. And if you people have been following what is coming out in the social media, he has been airborne ever since this terrorist activity happened. I don't know how many gallons of ATF he has burnt waiting for this hit to come on him. And he has been airborne with most of his assets, including those which China has loaned out to him. The J-10s are on loan to him. He has still not paid for them. The PL-15 missiles which he is being using is also on loan to him. He is still not paid for them. So with all these assets, he has been in the air with the hope that he will be able to dissuade a kinetic response. Because all said and done, in this kind of a scenario, a diplomatic or an economic action of ours is, it happens in the background. People don't realize the value to it. I'm sure the IWT would hurt at some stage, but then right now, the surgery had to be done with a kinetic hit, and that is what has happened in the last couple of weeks. So we went through with a very well organized plan, and we had a possible backup plan in the sense, if this does not go through for some reason, I'm sure we had an alternate option, and that is why targets were selected across the entire swath. With the kind of vectors that we have, we didn't have to cross the line of control or the IB. We flew well inside our own territory, released those payloads, and we got back. In that window, how much, what happened, these things are minor things, like the DG Air Ops mentioned today. The aim was to achieve the end state, and the
That was achieved.
hits we got on the 7th morning were precise hits. We got them with their pants down. We got some very, very valuable assets. Some assets which I thought were, unprobable to be there. We got them also. And yesterday I was watching a show in which Daniel Pearl's father was brought in. So the person who was involved in his capture and killing, he was also taken out almost 2 decades later. So then we have provided justice not only to our families, we have provided justice to the international body. So it's a very, very, very well planned and precise hit. And what did we do after that? We knew he's going to hit back. And we had to have a very good reason to force him to hit back. That's why that first press brief which we put out, we lined it very clearly that we have done what we had to do and we don't want you to escalate any further.
Don't escalate, you escalate.
So we left it to him, knowing very well that he will escalate because otherwise his credibility in his country will go down. And we were prepared and waiting for him. Actually, we expected him to escalate through the air, but I think he realized when he saw the kind of air activity that we were generating on our own side that coming across is a suicidal effect. He'll be taken out. The kind of beyond visual range system that we have on our assets, even coming closer to the IB, you would have been knocked out. So he kept probing us with drones. He did fire one odd short range missiles. And he tried to hit our airfields right across from Leh down to Bhuj. 26 sites were chosen by him. But he didn't know that we were waiting for this kind of a response because we knew he had no other options. Either he would have gone for logistics areas or the airfields. And we knew he will not come with his air vectors, he has to come with his slow moving drones. And this was the time to demonstrate somewhat our well integrated air defense capacities. And in the last 72 hours, India has demonstrated to the world that you don't need to have super high technology systems. If you are able to apply your mind, even vintage equipment like L-70 guns suitably deployed are very good vectors against slow moving targets. And I must tell the audience that majority of these drones have been taken out or knocked out by our 1960s vintage World War L-70 guns. Some by even the Russian ZSU twin gun. Both are basically anti-aircraft guns. And this must be known to you that we haven't used the S-400 as such against these targets. Of course, we have used it against some of his 4.5 generation aircraft which he tried to take off from his air bases. And he's lost a fair number of them, which he's not revealing. And today the DG Air Ops very candidly mentioned that we know how many we have hit, but we don't want to reveal it right now. But to be fair, you can assume that around 5 to 7% of his fleet is gone.
It's out.
Okay. And I would like to put it across here itself. I believe he's also lost one of his, what he calls as his air early warning sentry,
AWACS.
the Saab 200, which he had. And for the viewers, you should know that damn thing costs about $200,000. So,
Not 200. It must be more. Yeah.
So it is like 120. When I was calculating, it is 20% of his 1 billion bailout package which he's getting. So if you add these 10 odd Jahaj which is down, some of them is not yet paid for to the Chinese. This $1 billion is already written off. He's gone. So let us not get worried about the IMF giving him $1 million and he is going to rearm himself. He'll be just be able to, get back some of his assets. And both the Chinese and the Turkish are no saints. They will juice the money out of him. So that is one side of the story. So he continues to be a beggar despite this $1 billion coming to him for the period of next 30 days. And he realizes it. I'm very sure he realizes it. And that is something which he possibly must have factored in before he went crying to the Americans that we want to, call it off. So what happened in the next 2 days was that he realized all his claims of having a super air force, a supremely high anti-aircraft defense, or the AD, what we call. In fact, I must confess here that we were a little concerned over the period last 10-15 years about this HQ 9 system that he has, HQ 9 and HQ 16. And in any war game that we played, we gave it a very fair number of success. And we factored all our air efforts based on the kind of losses we are going to take due to this system. But the last 2 days have shown that this is true China ka mal as expected. It will fail when it actually needs to perform. The fact that on the first day we were able to put Lahore totally bare, it was within 24 hours, the air defense of Lahore was gone. And we could, launch anything with punity at Lahore. And thereafter, in the next 48 hours, we have demonstrated that we can hit every of his airfield. And today, the DG Air Ops has indicated to you that our targets have hit the exact DMPI which they've worked out.
And they showed
And
photographs of it.
show the photographs of it. Every asset, including the very, very exclusive Noor Khan Air Base at Chaklala,
Airspace.
that is something which is very dear to him. The Chief of Army Staff's Pakistan 1 is lined up over there. I don't know whether it is surviving or not because I believe two C-130s have been knocked off. So he generally travels in a C-130, but I think possibly his own Vayu Yan is gone, for all you know.
पेट्रोल
We
भी नहीं
have,
होगा ना.
we have hit Sargoda without flying into Pakistan. So that is something which is, totally unbelievable for him. And we have such precision based long range vectors now that he's really worried that will he be able to even step out of his home, because right now what is happening to him is he is struggling for money. He doesn't have money. Possibly on the ninth evening he must have been rejoicing that he's got $1 billion, but 10th, that $1 billion
Morning, it's
went,
all gone.
all gone. By 10th afternoon, the $1 billion is all vanished, possibly more. So he's in a very, very big problem. So that is where we are today. We had very clearly enunciated that we want to only hit the terror camps. We want to send a message not only to Pakistan, but we wanted to send a message to the world over that we are capable of surgical hits as and when we decide to take that call. And I guess we have communicated it in loud and clear to the world body. So that is the first part. The second part, I think General Shankar mentioned it, and I want to expand it a little. What happened in the last 2 days? Pakistan has got Ukraine, as I say. China and Turkey possibly wanted to, test out their equipment, which they could have thereafter put on sale world over. Now both of them must be cursing Pakistan, but they have lost business world over. Nobody is going to buy this anymore. We have displayed to the world that this is useless equipment. Please, and I'm sure all orders of HQ9, which China is holding, is all going to go out. Possibly more HQ9 will be dumped onto Pakistan because nobody else is going to buy it. So in that light, it has been a very, very useful 72 hours as far as India is concerned. We should all take pride on that fact that we have been able to achieve our aims. And as we said last time, selection and maintenance of aim. Possibly whatever we set out to do as Op Sindoor has been achieved, but Op Sindoor is not yet over. We have agreed to a temporary halt in operation. I won't even call it a ceasefire. And it was categorically explained by the DGMO. We have stopped firing, provided he doesn't fire on us. At the same time, today evening, the chief has delegated the authority to the army commanders to take appropriate kinetic actions. It has got a lot of value when I say this.
Yeah, explain
It
it.
is
Explain
not going to
impact.
stop. When I say appropriate kinetic actions, that means the battle procedure for the army commands has started, which means the army commanders can now start placing their respective assets to execute their planned operations in place. And that means we are ready to knock him even further. So this is where
Yeah.
we are.
No. Let me highlight this. This point. The point that army command, I mean, the chief of army staff has delegated the powers. I won't say delegated the powers. He's given a free hand to the army commanders. Means, the army commander is now free to conduct offensive operations to if his judgment, as per his judgment. Okay. And this is a great, and this came out where? It came out in the press conference. If it's come out in the press conference, it's gone across to Pakistan. The message to Pakistan is you try anything, we are getting in now. And why is this important? For any offensive operations, you need air cover. For any defensive operations, you need air cover. That air cover is not there. He doesn't have. Today, India rules the roost in air. Most of his major air bases don't have the capability to fly. He can't take off his aircraft from there, whatever he has. If you want to do some offensive operations today, ground-based operations, you just have to carry out another round of hitting the required air bases and you get in. And he can't defend himself. If he comes to defend himself, he doesn't have air cover. He'll be hit. The kind of situation which we have put Pakistan militarily is something which I think many of us don't understand. He's down on his knees, and all our diplomatic action and military action is so far designed to keep him there. Okay, this is very important. And this puts a lot of pressure on Pakistan. It puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Pakistan, and it tells the people of Pakistan that the Pakistan army cannot save you anymore. And that is why we'll come to the crux of what we have to speak. What is the future of this nuclear beggar? And I got this cue from him that there are a lot of fissures in Pakistan as a whole. And as per General Hari Mohan, he gives Pakistan maximum 2 to 3 years. And my question to him, no, I'm being very honest, Hari. This is what I actually caught. I was thinking, what should we speak today? When I saw the tweet of yours, I said, yeah, this is something which we should speak, the future of Pakistan. And my first question to you is, why have you given this 2 to 3 years? And what are these fissures? I would like you to explain. And we have time. I don't mind even if you go overboard on time. Because I
Yes, sir.
think our people should understand.
So, have you? I take an analogy of a lota, without the base. So when it was at rest, when it was at rest, and it is filled with water. Imagine a lota without a base, filled with water, which is at rest. Now, what has happened in the last 48 hours is we have given it the motion, and now it is oscillating slowly. It is oscillating. And every time it tries to bring it back to its original place, the motion is going to continue. That is basic physics. And
Simple
every
harmonic
time,
motion.
so moment it keeps moving faster, the water is going to keep spilling from it. And as the water keeps spilling from it, the motion is going to go faster. So that is an analogy which I am now trying to put across. What we have done is we have given a little indication to some elements, and I go back to my first talk on this channel. The people who live on the west of Indus. Now they are the people who will give it the further motion. We have given the indication that this lota is now moving. Now you keep pushing it, little push, little push. And I saw a declaration from the BLA today, and it is a very, very strong declaration. And I personally feel BLA may take time, but KPK will go. And the Taliban are not going to show them any remorse. So once this motion starts, and I see a lot of things happening later part of this year, sometime in the middle of next year, because every day he going to take a beating from us on the border. His army's credibility to be a savior is going to get a beating. Yesterday I was aghast when the PM went on air at 23:30, which was subsequently revealed that it was a pre-recorded address to the nation, and it was timed at a time because he didn't want any kind of reaction on ground, and he was worried that what happens if India starts firing again, because they had carried out ceasefire violations after having agreed to ceasefire. So his live broadcast got converted to a recorded address where he was trying to convey to his masses that we have actually won. How that was something, he kept tom-tomming about we pulled down 3 Rafales, we pulled down 3 Rafales. In my mind, what we have achieved without losing a single life, even if 10 of them went, I think we still have got a result in our
Yeah.
favor. So in operations of this nature, you know, losses are all factored in before we work out the gains when you do this SWOT analysis. So an odd aircraft going down is nothing we should get worried about. That can always be replenished. We are a very strong nation, economically strong nation. And for us to buy another 30 of these Rafales in one go is not a problem. We are anyway buying 26 for the Navy.
26. Yeah.
We can anyway buy 4 more and, make it up. So losing a jet here or there, in any case, you must be all aware, in routine peacetime flying also there are routine crashes. So losing a jet should not be something which can be, taken as a part of victory. And that is all what that Pakistan has got. All his counter IB excursions have been shot down. He's not been able to get anything. And the best thing was that that operation which he's calling a Banyan ul Marsus, which incidentally is something which the ISIS uses. So that shows his basic
Thinking.
in thinking. So that particular operation was supposed to fire some long range. So yesterday he fired a couple of his long range vectors called the Fateh 1 and 2. And both of them, which were supposed to possibly go towards Delhi, were taken out in the fields in Haryana. In safe areas, nothing was damaged. So he is now flabbergasted as to how effective are second and third layer of air defenses. He is possibly not abreast to the fact that we are demonstrating to the world that we have an iron dome above us. More reliable iron dome than somebody was mentioning it yesterday. More reliable and more in the last 2 days we have got better results than what Israel could get in the Iranian hits. Similar kind of vectors coming from Iran, and he had more time to locate it, and we got better results. So he's at the moment flabbergasted. He doesn't know what to do. He has got his tanks, but he doesn't have gasoline to run them. He doesn't have the kind of forces, because the moment he uplifts the forces from Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which possibly are the only offensive forces he has, the moment they cross Indus and come towards the east, those two provinces will declare itself independent. So that is again, I go back to that Lota. So the moment we do something on this side, we give it a push from this side, and he tries to react from the other side. The BLA and the Taliban, the TTP, are going to push it from the other side. The velocity of this oscillation is going to continuously rise. And the best part that has come out here is, I believe, I don't know how true it is, I can say with a little degree of reservation, but one of our strikes were pretty close to his nuclear command
Nukes.
authority. Nuclear command authorities. May not be the nukes, but nuclear command authority.
Yeah.
Which indicated to us that we will hit you before you press the button. We will destroy the button before you can even do it. So that Pawa kg bomb and Adda kg bomb, etc., that drama will go away. For all you know, Indian Army may not have to cross the international border itself, and we can create such a kind of situation for him that Shankar says he's on his knees. I will say he's on his ass. He's flat on the ground. He's flat on the ground today. He's like a boxer who's taken 3 punches and he's taken a count of 8. We have allowed him to stand up. We have allowed him to exit without taking a KO. But if he still insists to come and box, I'm sure he'll get a second round of maybe much more potential hits, because we have some second layer of activity which the DGMO mentioned today. And this time possibly the pain is going to be much larger.
Yeah,
At the
I just
same,
want to interject once, Hari, and tell everyone, DGMO used one word repetitively, and that was punitive. You know, Openly telling the world that I'm going to be punitive on Pakistan. India is going to be punitive on Pakistan. It is very, very strong word. You're telling another nuclear nation, you try anything, I will sort you out. I mean, हिंदी में बोलो तो भाई आजा तेरा पैंट उतार के दे दूंगा तेरे को. I've never seen you see any war of anything, whether it's Iran, whether it's Iraq, whether it is Ukraine, whether it's Russia, whether it is China, ye, wo, everyone. Have you seen Army, Navy, Air Force, their DGMOs coming and sitting and giving a briefing as to what we have done and how we have answered all the questions which were thrown up, and sorting out all ideas of what we have done. And the important part we must all understand is, except, like what General Harimohan said, except for the Pakistan army saying we took out 4 Rafales, we took out 4 Rafales, we took out 4 Rafales, which they have not. I can tell you with some, guarantee that they have not. Okay? And the fact is that all our pilots are safe. Okay? With that, you just think of that fellow, he's got nothing to show to his people. That is the important part. Sorry, I thought, I
maybe
wanted to interject and
it's,
highlight
it's, a,
this
it's, a,
point. Yeah.
it's, a, it's, a, it's a good point, in the sense today the world order is a little confused, if I was to use the word. The Americans were looking for, and that is possibly something which I guess I will call it jump the gun. Our friend Mr. Trump Saab was too excited that he managed to get these two sides to stop firing, and he went overboard by saying that, third country, neutral country. I guess we have cleared all that today in the briefing, that we have just stopped firing and we have not closed the operation as yet. So that should be very clear to the Americans also, because one thing we must all be very clear: we don't get equipment on loan or khairat anymore. That was possibly India's of the 60s and 70s, when we used to get leftovers from America and Russia, which used to come to us as equipment.
Now we are
Today
on our own. Yeah.
we buy our equipment, and we have
Now
multiple
we make.
places to buy our equipment, and then we can make our equipment. That is the second best part. The way the Akash has played up in this particular couple of days is extremely encouraging. That was the part of the integrated missile development which possibly people had some degree of doubts. The other one is, of course, Nag, but I'm sure Nag will also perform when it comes to it. But what it did was, and everybody kept talking about S400, S400. We haven't used it. We possibly used only one or two of them, and that was also possibly for very specific J-10 aircrafts well inside Pakistan. I believe they have taken it out 400 kilometers away from the IB. So it is something which I'm sure it will come out when the operations go away and the Chinese realize that their assets are gone. So it is sending two messages to China, and I thought I must put it across. See, what is lying across the line of actual control is the same HQ9, which we have shown that we can knock it off in 24 hours. And China cannot produce an S-400 in next 6 months, right? And as it
No,
is,
they
China,
can't.
they are at a disadvantage because their aircrafts have limited range because of the altitude at which they operate. In any case, the Indian aircrafts, because we operate from lower altitudes, we have anyway the advantages there. And if we take out their air defense systems, China possibly may not be on his ass, but definitely be brought to his knees. Because there also there's a problem. If his air goes away, then he'll also be possibly struggling. And his much touted rocket force can also be possibly taken care of by our Iron Dome kind of a
Air.
thing. So in large context, in the last 2 days, we have sent a large number of messages world over that we are not a nation that can be cowed down. We are a military power which knows what we have to do, and we can do what we have to do with impunity when we want to do. And we are not likely to be influenced by anybody in the world, and we take our own decisions. That having said, we have also underlined the fact that we are a peace loving nation. As long as you don't finger us, we are not having any intentions of any territorial kind of requirements. But if you try and finger us, possibly you'll get it back in the same line. And it has been conveyed not only to Pakistan, it has been conveyed to other nations which possibly were trying to take advantage of the kind of situation we are in. Now let's come down to the topic as to what happens to Pakistan. The political turmoil currently, as you know, yesterday in the info domain, suddenly a message appeared that Imran Khan is dead and he's been poisoned by the Pak army inside the jail. And that also came somewhere around the time when the ceasefire came. Possibly, I guess we were a tad late. If we had moved it around 12 o'clock yesterday, there would have been turmoil inside Pakistan. We have to now look at somehow hit at the fragile political structure of the nation. We have to ensure that the army loses the support that it has from the populace. Unfortunately, because of very well constructed info war, and I must give it granted to Pakistan that in the last 96 to 120 hours, compared to us, his info campaign has been much better. Our media went overboard on the 7th and 8th and did some very immature kind of activities, which resulted in some news coming out which is not believable. And in the bargain, what happened was the credibility of the issues which we were doing were lost. And Pakistan was able to convey to its populace that what is being communicated by India is all false. And since we did not hit any targets other than military targets, and our response has been very, I will say, I won't even call it gradual. It has been on a very low levels, where in actuality we will send 8, 10 vectors, we sent one. It was more symbolic. It was more to tell him that I can hit you with impunity. Like an airfield, I would rather like to put 6 or 8 DMPIs, we just put 1 or 2. So the people who are to understand have understood, both in Pakistan and outside. But unfortunately, the populace feels that Pakistan has been able to achieve, I won't say victory, but at least parity. And that is one reason I feel we were a little short. And I felt the press briefing which happened on 7th morning, it was symbolic and it was well done. But having done that, having him respond militarily, and the operations moving into the military domain, I felt the next 2 days our communication both to our own population and the international media has been found wanting. And that, in addition to the way our television media, particularly some very irresponsible television media, which moved, you know, they played it like a T20 game, if I was to use the word, and they spoiled the entire narrative which we were able to build, which we were trying to build. And large number of places we lost credibility because of things like, Lahore capture हो गया है, रावलपिंडी में इंडियन आर्मी घुस गई है, Karachi port jal gaya hai. Navy has not yet moved out, and we had declared Karachi port has been burnt out. And we started posting some fake videos, fake pictures. So we harmed our own mission, if I
Anyway,
was to use.
that be
So
that as it may, let's talk.
that
Let's
having
talk
been,
of
so what I'm trying to say today, because of this little thing, in the current scheme of things, the population somehow has not been we have not been able to tell the population that the army has actually not been able to achieve anything. And I'm sure and I hope that should he try something in the next 48 hours and then we give him the second round of whipping, we are able to communicate it to the population. The second issue is when you look at Fauj, any country looks at Fauj, it looks at the army. The Air Force and the Navy are always secondary and third levels. Though in the strategic and operational domain, both the Air Force and Navy occupy their space in primacy. On ground, what is visible is the army. Until that time, a section of this army is physically destroyed or dislocated. This aspect of notional victory will always be there with him. And I am hopeful that in the due course of next year or so, because he's like the dog's tail, you can't straighten him ever. You can keep him lashed up for some time. The moment you let it go, he'll curl again. So he'll give us an opportunity, and I hope now this government has given the resolve. It has laid out our doctrine in the open. That try you may, and you'll get this time. We're not going to stop. The good thing yesterday was a declaration from the government. This, I must say that this was something which we had in our doctrine, that an incident of this nature will be taken as an act of war. That was within the forces. That we should be prepared to respond in full spectrum should an incident of this nature happen. But there was no government clearance for it. Now, yesterday, apparently, in the meeting, the CCS meeting, the Prime Minister has clearly indicated, and it is going to come out as a doctrine, that any future terror incident of this nature will be taken as an act of war. And if it is an act of war, then the response will be quick, sharp, and heavy. And now that we know his weaknesses, in the next 24 months, because it is going to take him a minimum of 4 to 5 years if he wants to find suitable replacement for these gaps. Because these
yeah,
kind of
that
things,
if he has money, I don't think he look.
firstly money,
He
and secondly, let's say he asks,
who will give,
let's say he manages to get a S-400 from Russia. The
who will
delivery
give
is not
him?
going to happen in the next 24
No,
months.
no, who will give him? Who will give him?
Sir, I am saying
Who will give
in
him?
extreme assumption that let's say somehow he manages to get, even if he gets a
See,
release, the equipment is not going to come for next 24 months. That is
see, no, no, that's the thing. But the fact is that look, if you see the force structure of China, 70% of his equipment is Chinese, and the Chinese has proven to be useless.
that is gone. I'm
So
not
as
looking
a
at China.
no, no,
I'm
as
not
a
looking at
result, and no, what I'm trying to get at is why did he go in for the Chinese? Because no one else was prepared to give him. He also knows that the Chinese equipment is useless. He's not a fool. he also went all round. No one, even the French were not prepared to give him, the Americans were not prepared to give him, no one in Europe was prepared to give him, even Russia was not prepared to give him. So he's in a position where he'll not get modern weapon systems. ओ अपना नंगा बंदा जाके अपना न्यूक्लियर वेपन के साथ कहाँ जाएगा वो अभी नो यू नो द सिचुएशन इज एक्चुअली I keep telling everyone, you know, it's the political issue which is more important than the military issue. Today, the political issue in which he has caught is that no one will give him modern weapons. He cannot never be equipped to fight India the way he thought he would. So that is where the problem comes. Yeah, please go ahead. Do you have to go anywhere?
No, I don't. That my
Yeah,
thing
go
is
ahead.
cancelled.
Okay.
So what I was trying to say is, next time he tries something of this nature, the hit is going to be so hard that his population will now realize that they have an army which is an emasculated army. I'm
Yeah.
using very careful words because it doesn't have the go, it's just there. And he's been able to spin a story that we are a very efficient army. He's still playing that game that we knocked down some. I will not put a number to it, but he is playing a very high number. And we know it is not true. So, in the larger ball game, what happens? Tomorrow, he is feeding a charade to his population saying that you are all safe. But when the push comes to shove, the knockout will be very fast. We will suffer huge losses in areas where it matters to him. And now I am personally feeling that rather than going for the line of control, we should now look at his heartland because that is where it will hurt him most. By holding him everywhere else, by ensuring that there is no water in his drains, by ensuring that all his obstacles don't have obstacle value, we can, really push hard in a campaigning season and close out major gains in his developed terrain, and something which is contrary to what I was telling you last time. Because when I was looking at it last time, these last 2 days of activity wasn't there. So when I put HQ9 and HQ16 as paramount and his air being potent, a major operations in the plains was a very, very difficult one. But now when you look at his opportunity, you can actually open him up. And it will hurt him very badly because all his assets lie in the Punjabi heartland. In fact, we can pound him so badly for a period of 7, 10 days, like the Americans pounded the Iraqis, knock the devil out of him, and then walk across and, hurt him in the area which hurts him most. And when that happens, we possibly may not even have to roll our tanks across the border because the pounding which he takes in his heartland is going to create so much of this thing in this population that they will possibly lose faith in the army. And the day they lose faith in the army, this control over the population which the army exercises will go. There will be internal revolts, and possibly that oscillation which I was mentioning will get the real kind of momentum. And I see it happening in the next 12 months, sir, because
Okay. And
he
now you
he is a
shorten the odds.
no. I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
from 2 years, come down to
no.
12
It
months.
starts. I said when it
Okay.
starts, it starts. It will start. Like I said, 2 years. I said I gave myself two campaigning seasons.
Okay.
One to him and second to annihilate him. So I am looking at next 12 months, a stable government in India, which is possibly now going to be, having this last 3 days effort to, quell a lot of things which others were throwing at him as being showing its decisiveness. So it makes a kind of difference. We are going to be a stronger country as we were possibly last month, and he's going to be a weaker nation as compared to last month.
Yeah.
And we have a window now, and we are just waiting for him to make a wrong move, and that wrong move can be instigated. If you keep abusing somebody again and again and again and again, someday
वो
he is going
करेगा
to
कुछ.
kuch na kuch karega. So that is what we got to do now. Keep poking him, keep trying to agitate him, finger him somewhere where he responds. So 1 minute. Hello. हाँ कर देंगे. ओके. ठीक है. ओके.
Yeah.
Sorry again, sir.
No, no
I'll be having,
problems.
I'll be going at 10. It's not a lot of time in this.
Okay.
So, what I was saying is, if the army gets a beating and they lose value, then the population is not going to support them the way they are doing today.
Okay.
All
So
these
fine.
fishers, so many of them. There's Baloch fisher, there's the Sindh fisher, there is the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there is Gilgit Baltistan, there is POJK. Everywhere other than Punjab. Even in Punjab, I feel that South Punjab will again start exerting itself towards the North Punjab, because the Thakurs all are Nawaz Sharifs and all. Their cahoots are all lying in the Sialkot, Gujranwala belt. So they possibly are going to get isolated. And I see KPK going first. If I was to summarize my way of looking at it, KPK going first, Gilgit Baltistan going next, POJK possibly, if we are able to create environment in J&K. Unfortunately, this incident has taken us back a bit. But if the government stays focused on development in J&K, POJK can also reintegrate. And at some time, Sindh will also give way. So I give it
Right.
3 years in that manner, sir. First, it will not happen all at once. I believe he'll lose control of administering these areas. When I say lose control, means his governments will get kicked out of those areas. The control of populace will get shifted to these local people. So it'll be moving like termites over a period of time before they take over cities like Peshawar and Quetta. Same is the case with Gilgit. I feel Gilgit Pakistan, if we want, we can, create so much of turmoil over there. Those people never want to be with Pakistan. They are the most neglected people in Pakistan. Nobody bothers whether they are there or not. Unfortunately, in our scheme of things, we look at POJK much higher than Gilgit Pakistan. That populace can, and they will not reintegrate with us. Let us have no such this thing that they'll come and join India. But they'll definitely like to break away from Pakistan and be independent on their own. So that is something there. It is, in my mind, it is there on the platter. In Sindh, it is boiling. The day water doesn't go, it's going to create problem. Balochistan, because of the Chinese presence there, may take a little time. But I feel Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, sir, I give it 12 months, 12 to 6,
Okay.
maximum, let's say 18 months. That's going to be the start of the game, not Balochistan. You'll find, and I must also leave a point of caution here. Those TTP guys are not trustworthy. So let us not start getting gaga about him. They are not something that they are going to be our allies or something.
No, no,
But
we
then
don't want allies. But
we don't
the
want. So
moment the fisher, we don't want.
we want that Punjab to be a buffer between Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and us. We don't want
Yeah.
them to take over Punjab because they'll create more problems for us. But KPK, I see going, it will become greater Afghanistan in due course of time. Gilgit Baltistan will go next, in my mind. Balochistan and Sindh, depending on how much we are able to knock the game. I see, in my mind, sir, this conflict is not over. I see
Yeah.
something. I see. In fact, I had
Good.
initially thought that we will possibly postpone this till winters, but I guess this is going to be a long year, and possibly the opportunity which we have, we should encash it in the campaigning season. Uh, we should go well prepared, and when the Chinese can't do anything post November December, possibly the window is there to carry out something of worthwhile in Punjab, and then start the balkanization. So I
Chalo.
guess
Let's see how things move, right? And we had a long chat on many issues. We covered a lot of ground. We'll take a few questions if you have the time. Otherwise, I'll continue with the
I have the
questions.
time, sir. I have time till another half an hour, sir.
Good, first class. We'll take questions. Okay. So the first question is, sir, given the recent systemic destruction of enemy targets to our west puts in question the AD systems available with the enemy to the north.
That's
Do
exactly.
they have effective AD cover?
No, they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
After yesterday's, see, they have something called the S-300s, which they got from the Russians. which is what they are converted to their HQ9 systems. So now that we have defeated the S300, sorry, HQ9, the S300s fall in the same category, and they are not a major threat for us. I guess the Chinese are going to be really worried with the way things have happened in the last 48 hours, and
Yeah, the effect on China is huge.
huge. And if I am again assuming that if we have been able to take out a couple of their J10s, which are supposed to be there, you know, at the moment their fleet, major fleet, that also going to be worrying because he is going to be anyway disadvantaged by the altitudes on which they have to operate. So if we have been able to knock it off at standoff distances, he is going to be seriously worried about his air defense, if I was to use the word.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree with you. Yeah, he says it seems forces were forced to act without necessary preparations and they have been put under pressure for politicians' decision errors. No, I don't think that's right. I think the moment the Pahalgam attack happened, all of us knew that the time had come to give him a knock. We had about 15 days notice to do what we had to do. In any case, the Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy are always prepared to mobilize. I think we had adequate window to do what we had to do, right? Yeah, and I don't think we should discuss this further.
So I just want
Okay.
to I want to
Yeah,
kill
go
this
ahead.
because a lot of people have this. I started my discussion today saying that this is not something we discovered on 22nd of April. All these targets, right down
Are
to their
old.
latitude, longitude, their DMPIs, they're all been there with us. The question is, we just had to execute it. So
Yeah,
we had enough preparation. It's a wrong assumption.
yeah. Abhijit Chakravarti, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Shreyas Anand, welcome. And then Dattaraya Gadge, also welcome, joining me as a YouTube member. Prithviraj Singh Jadeja, welcome. Then Debabrata Majumdar, welcome as a YouTube member. Rahul, also welcome as a YouTube member. Uh, Bajepalli Ramakrishna, Balijapalli Ramakrishna, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Then Vamred, General Sir, can we force Pak to return Gilgit? Yeah,
I said that Gilgit forms part of the Gilgit Baltistan. It's a ripe fruit, but the terrain to operate there is extremely difficult. You must realize the altitudes at which we have to operate. The valleys are very narrow, frontages are very small, which means that a very small force can actually be able to hold on to a much larger value. So even if you have to apply forces there, it has to be applied in series, one after the other. So it's going to be a series of knocks which you have to do. So that is the only big advantage he has. And that is why he did Kargil. And a lot of people say that he did Kargil because he wanted to throw us out of Siachen. He is worried because in 1971 he lost Turtuk. The route to Gilgit Baltistan runs through Partapur, Turtuk in that axis. And that axis, which goes along the Indus River, is something we have been, there is a large number of options we have worked on. It is doable. It is doable if your northern borders are quiet because the deflection will come there. If North Ladakh is quiet and we are able to apply force in uh, in a chunk, if I was to use a very random word, we have the force to carry out operations of this nature. But it will be a hard fight. But I feel why should you go and fight there? It will fall on its own. We
yeah,
can
you have
create
to do wait. You just have to wait for it to fall. Yeah.
fall on its own.
Okay. Is it true we can track movement of all their nukes, including mobile nukes, and if we detect them, we will destroy if it thus preventing them from launching one? Or they have some hidden and can be launched?
Uh, you know this is something which is very tricky, and it is. I believe it has come up because there's a lot of chatter in the social media that we targeted their nukes, etc. This is all, I will say, a little far fetched, if I was to use the right word. Uh, Incidentally, maybe one of our vectors may have landed close to some of his nuclear establishments. Please do understand that we have a understanding between us and Pakistan as two responsible nuclear powers that we will not target each other's nuclear assets, because that is the easiest way to carry out a holocaust, and it is part of a requirement to be a nuclear power. Tracking its movement is very difficult. Of course, we'll track its vectors. He has got very limited number of vectors. We know where he holds these vectors. When he is going to mate the nuke to the vector is something which is important, and we may not be able to track it. But let me tell you what has happened, and which should be a very encouraging thing to us. We have been, tom-tomming this anti-ballistic missile vehicle of ours,
Yeah,
which DRDO has, made. The way the Barak has intercepted the Fateh, it is extremely encouraging,
yeah, yeah,
because the kind of altitudes that was flying and the way it was intercepted, which indicates that we are on the right lines. And he is not going to fire nukes into India. I can assure you this. At best, he is going to fire a tactical nuke on any forces of ours which has gone inside his territory, to say that he's fired on his own territory. He's not. He doesn't have the guts to fire it inside India, because he'll get totally written off. So I'm not worried about his nukes. It's better to capture him and get his nukes intact, and let us make 170 of ours to 340. That is something we
yeah,
should be aiming.
yeah. Hari, I will request you to go through a little fast because there are a lot of questions which we have to
Yes,
answer. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for everything. If Pak keeps playing the nuclear card, isn't it kneecapping us from clearing the terror spots, even getting rid of this problem?
see, I used the word last time. These terrorists are like pests. You have to keep doing pest control. It is not a one-time action. They'll keep coming, and you'll have to keep clearing them. And it is a continuous process. The only way to actually clear this problem is to ensure a dispensation in Pakistan, which is not having control of the army, and that possibly something which is in our favor. And again, I have a little doubt, because what has happened in Bangladesh, you have seen in 50 years, the entire populace is now turning hostile. So, to be absolutely having a scenario of a cleansed Pakistan is expecting for utopia. There will be, because it's a country which has got so much of people without any resources. So terrorism is a easy resource for them. So I guess this is something we have to live with, and I guess our forces have to be used to keep doing pest control at regular intervals. And nuclear card has got nothing to do with it.
General, sir, your thoughts on how the world reacts to India using 1960, 70, 80 machinery and integrating them seamlessly together. Does this increase military sales, which is important for being a world power?
Uh, I was in one of, I will not name the PSU which was doing it, but one of our PSUs was upgrading this AD guns, and we also, me and General Shankar sir were working in the artillery, and we were also getting something done with the same PSU, and I was visiting there, and I was very amused. In fact, I said, "Yeah, why are you, you know, trying to polish up a old horse? Let us make a new one." But the issue is not on the weapon. The issue is the ammunition which we have, designed, the kind of drives we have designed. The system today is absolutely capable of taking the kind of targets that we are assigning to it. Because today's warfare, aircrafts are not going to come steep down, for which these weapons were designed for. So these weapons are available to us, and our PSUs have done a wonderful job. I must compliment both of them. I will, in due course of time, whenever I interact with them, I'll share it. It is marvelous. In fact, I had these systems in Northern Command with me, and I was always worried. In fact, yesterday when Udhampur airfield somebody said was hit, I rang up the brigade commander in Udhampur, who was one of my COs when I was the chief of staff there. So he says, sir, not a single UAV came anywhere close to 5 kilometers of the airfield. We knocked them out. And all the explosions you saw was those explosions of the UAV getting knocked off. So it is very
Yeah,
heartening to
that's
see
good.
that with equipment we have done wonders. Kudos to the air warriors, AD warriors.
Jai Bharat, sir, free hand to army. Is it real? Is it a reality or just words from the government?
Like I said, free hand doesn't mean that you can do anything. Free hand comes with kind of some degree of directions that you can do A, B, C, D, and for this you got a free hand. Go ahead whenever an opportunity comes, and that is discussed in the meetings with the CCS, where certain degree of risk is taken by the government. I guess that is what has been given out. It doesn't mean that tomorrow our forge is going to go to Rawalpindi. Uh,
Yeah,
don't start
the basic
fantasizing on.
thing of a free hand, the basic thing of a free hand is the army commander doesn't have to look back over his shoulder
That.
for everything. Certain things he can start. So you don't have to be reactive, you can be proactive to a certain level. Yeah. Thoughts on reports of US radiation sniffers flying in Park?
I believe I was following this. Then I did a little study. I believe this aircraft was in Rawalpindi for a week, and I believe it has finally come there because there were reports of two earthquakes which happened in very fast succession in those areas where these nukes were. So I guess either our friend has done some low yield test because he was not sure of his arsenal. Possible, but some people are attributing it to our BrahMos landing there. Our BrahMos did land somewhere close to that place, but
But
definitely
it won't get to.
we were
Yeah.
not targeting it. Neither can we target it. But that not saying, I'm sure the US has the US has interest in Pakistani nukes. Let's be very clear because he doesn't want it to fall in China's hands or Iran's hands. So every time a nuke moves from place A to place B, the US eyes are on it, and let us be very clear about it that he just cannot pick up and fire on us. It is there are people keeping a hand on it.
Yeah. So theoretically, if Pakistan breaks up, but terrorism will continue as they arise from Pak Punjab, but Afghans are also radical. Won't it be bad for India in the long run? Your thoughts about this angle?
So when the first time I spoke to you on I think around this time last month, 2nd of April, if I recollect correctly, I said personally I don't want Pakistan to balkanize because there will be four rogue countries across, and it is easier to handle one rather than four. So that is a worry which we should look at. I'm not so much worried about Gilgit Baltistan and POJK. I'm not so much worried about Balochistan also because they are not that kind of people. But the rest, I don't have.
Yeah,
Uh,
but the point is, I have a different take on this. You see, the point is that the moment you balkanize them and they're different, they might be terrorists. You can deal with them with impunity, which you
that is there.
so far couldn't deal.
They
It'll be a,
possibly will fight among themselves. It will become another
yeah,
Afghanistan. It will become another Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
What was there
Okay,
in
and
1980s with two people fighting
yeah,
each other?
that's it, right? So we let them fight. What's the problem? No problem. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Santosh, for your contribution. Then Ravindra Rampuria, sir, your comment: USA radiation sniffers in Pakistan, multiple earthquakes. Is it reasonable? Is it the reason Modi ji accepted ceasefire to avoid nuclear leakage followed in Pak and say, no, I don't think so. I think we have covered this in detail,
The
right?
DGMO very clearly said today that we said we don't want any operations after 7th morning. It was Pakistan which retaliated and thereafter faced the brunt of
Yeah.
this. If they stop firing, we
Yeah.
said we don't want to fire anymore. It was very clear.
Yeah. And then, of course, Janani Janmabhoomi must be proud of you. Jai Hind, thanks a lot. Uh, in press conference today, the Air Marshal has indirectly accepted aircraft loss on our side. Hard to accept Rafale loss, your comment.
I never said it's a Rafale, firstly. Neither did
No,
the
no,
Air
no.
Marshal. No,
No,
I'm
no,
just
not
I'm
at
just
the.
qualifying it. I'm just qualifying it. It may be a MiG 29, it could be a Mirage. But the fact which you must understand is when an operation of this nature is planned, assets are earmarked for it, we do plan to accept a degree of losses because these are very, very, very difficult operations. It is so not so easy to hit 100 kilometers inside a country on a pinpoint precision because you have to be airborne for a substantial period of time. You have to fly on a very uh, pre-planned kind of a track which can be picked up. So there are bound to be losses. Uh, sh- Please
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
carry out the impression that you are swatting a mosquito. It is not so easy. And let me tell you, if you try swatting 10 mosquitoes, you may end up swatting four, and fifth one might come and bite you. So please be prepared. It is a very wrong thing to say, Rafale. So what if you lose a Rafale? As long as you didn't lose a pilot, Rafale can be bought again, and I think it is within the costs that had been planned for this
Yeah,
operation.
it's not like that. Please understand. These are all weapons of war. Some weapon will you lose, some weapon you will not lose. And have you won the war or not? You have won the war. So what's the problem? Right? You will have losses are part of life. Okay. We still have not been able to demonstrate to Pak public that Pak army can't protect them. Your opinion, please.
I think I said
Uh,
that it's been a little
but
too short a time
yeah,
if I
yeah.
was to too short a
See
time.
the point.
Sir, I feel in the next 15 days, when things start opening out, the park public themselves will realize that where
Yeah,
they were. Uh,
yeah.
so
You if you yeah, if everyone remembers, I did a program of the mood of the public in Pakistan. I'll put it out again. I'll put it out again tomorrow or day after. The mood of the public in Pakistan would be pretty low, was pretty low, and it would be even more pretty low today. And like what General Hari Mohan says, as days go by and more information comes out, and the you see Pak behavior will start changing. You see, today if the Pak army can't talk big anymore. That days are gone. So when that thing comes on ground and you will see them happening. That's why I said I took this because this is one of the things which will happen, which will lead to breakup of Pakistan. It's This is a major factor. And we'll see. I'll get back to this subject after about 10-15 days when we see the mood of the nation. And I'll get General Hari only back to discuss this.
definitely.
Yeah. We are indebted to you to share your wisdom. That's our job. So it's not a thing. Uh, yeah, Vijay, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Venki, General Iyer, General Shankar, why aren't we using EMP ordnance?
We will use EMP ordnance is something we are working on. I guess in due course of time you'll realize, and it is part of our systems.
Yeah, we did. Look, there's nothing out. Did we need it so far? We didn't need it. When we need it, we'll use it. Yeah, please share in detail how to handle point 0.5.
Only perception. I guess people will take care of it. We should
Yeah,
not worry about the point five. When war happens, point five is irrelevant.
it's irrelevant actually. This is point 0.5 is more political in nature. Yeah, super sticker. Thanks a lot, Prodigy. Thank you. Then isn't it easy to fake a radiation leak? No, not at all. You can't fake radiation leaks at all. Thanks a lot again, Neo. Thanks a lot, Santosh, for joining me as a YouTube member. Thanks a lot, Ajinkya Rajput. Is it possible that Pak army wasn't trained enough or misconfigured their AD? Isn't it too early to assume Chinese systems are bad? Sorry if the question is stupid.
It is not stupid. This system is with them for the last 10 odd years. In fact, more than 10 years. And they used to be showcasing it as their pride. In fact, they, like General Shankar said, the Pakistan Air Force was considered to be the king of their forces because they felt that it can fly with impunity over their own skies. And it felt that they had the, the kind of advantage on their own skies which is impenetrable. So it is not that they were not well trained enough, they got knocked off and they failed. Simple as that.
See, fundamentally, the system was defective. Like all Chinese systems are defective. Okay, when Under battle stress, they've just cracked. As simple as that. It's like egg cracking, and they were made omelets of. End of story. This equipment will no one will believe it.
Right.
Believe
Nobody
you
will.
me, if a equipment fails me in war, that's junk. No man will touch it. Okay. Pakistan, our Air Force would be scratching all parts of their body to see what do I do next. They will not touch HQ-9. They will not touch Chinese equipment, and they might be very, very, very diffident of touching their own aircraft. See, please understand the effect of on a pilot who's going up into that to fly wherever he is or not.
Sir,
There's a yeah.
just wanted to narrate an incident. It's come on the social media. Day before yesterday, this Air Marshal Aurangzeb of theirs was tom-tomming about how they were, and he was giving a briefing to the international press as to how they were able to, negate our strike on the 7th. And just when he took his seat, I believe the first radar in the Air Force establishment where he was knocked off. So that is what they say, that the entire international media was there when this radar went off. So it is demonstrating to the world that we are capable of knocking off this air defense systems. It is not reliable.
Okay. Pak experts like Najam Sethi and Hamid Mir shamelessly claiming Pak victory. Are they delusional or are they crafting fake narratives?
You answered it. They are delusional.
They don't have a choice, no? They don't have a choice. What can those poor chaps do? They're all trained to only parrot the official line. Their survival is on the official line, so they have to parrot. There's no choice. It is not like us who will say, look, we wish this had happened, we wish that had happened, this we can critique the government, all that, right? They can't do that. Yeah, big thank you for to both for all the services. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Black Mamba became a YouTube member. Thanks a lot. Okay, then thank you for both. Thank you for both of your services. Nuclear clarity is much needed for our own people. Yeah, look, the nuclear business has been overblown. Overblown. Let me give you my own experience, my own perception and experience. We had these nukes in '99 also. And that time we were to go, I was part of a formation which was to go across POK into, across the LOC. This was when Kargil was happening. Kargil was happening, and we were going. So we were having a discussion. And the discussion was, look, can two nuclear powers go to war? The answer was yes, we've already had war in Kargil. Okay. Can it expand? We said, look, there's no choice. We have to go in. If Kargil doesn't happen, Kargil people are not pushed back, we'll go in. Let us see what happens after that. I'm now talking 25 years, 26 years back. And this discussion I was a commanding officer, I was commanding my unit, ready to go across with my brigade commander with whom I was. He was commanding this infantry brigade, and we were making fire plans, and we're having this discussion. At the end of the day, this was about a week before we were to go in, and whole thing over. He said, Shanks, let's go and have a drink and forget about it. Go sleep. Next day we'll have to start operating because we were mobilizing. We were far behind. So we went quickly, had a drink, and after that we said, yeah, that's it. Nuclear or not, good. We've had a good drink. Let's go in. End of story. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. No one is bothered. That beyond a point. Okay. Uh, yeah, General Shankar, could you do one show on escalation ladder during a war? Oh, you've
It's
seen
a
it happen.
go into confidential domain, but yes.
You've seen it happen. Okay, actually, you've seen it happen. What's there? At this point of time, we are in the second rung of escalation. Second rung. Well, many rungs. We are in the second rung, and and there's no fixed ladder for this escalation. Let me also tell you, people talk fixed escalation ladder. As if you can climb up. It's not so. You might jump from the second rung right up to the last rung. So there are whole thing in this. I'll try and put it across to you in a non-confidential manner to the extent possible. Is China going to get involved at some point? Said this in the morning, Vaibhav. There's no question. That
No
fellow is
chance.
now. And
No
okay, now
chance.
that you asked, no, now that you asked this question, I will do a show tomorrow or day after to explain to you what's the status of China. You have to understand what's the status of China to ask this question. Fools have violated ceasefire yet again. What's the end game? Oh, that'll happen. Don't worry. We'll keep
See, I
sorting
must,
them.
sir, I must put this across. You see, when these kind of decisions are taken, they are taken at the highest levels. The orders have to flow down to the guy who's standing on the LMG right on the border. For
Which
all
he
we
might not.
know, he may not get the order, so one odd guy might let loose. So you should be patient with this ceasefire violation until unless it's a major violation, we don't bother about it.
Okay, why blackouts in these GPS times? Just for information.
I
Tell
will.
them.
I think this was communicated in some manner in the media. You see, GPS works on modern precision guidance weapons, but all weapons are not precision guidance. It's very expensive. So you will have a mix of dumb weapons and precision guidance weapons, both operating in the same domain. We don't know what kind of weapon is going to come. So therefore, blackouts are to. And let me tell you, 70% of the weapons will not be precision guidance weapons, especially in a war between India and Pakistan. So these drones which come across, most of them are coming without night visibility, etc. And they are possibly looking for a target, and a light here or there may give an indication of what it is. So that's why these blackouts are there.
Yeah. Uh, During 65 and 71, they had US advanced weapons. Still, they lost badly. This shows their competency of Pak army personnel. See, the short answer is it doesn't matter whether they had American weapons, they had European weapons or Chinese weapons. They've all lost. Period. That's it. Yeah. One question, Shritik. How effective or disadvantageous will it be for us to have taken this exit? Yes, they asked for it and it was practical to get out, but then why does the whole nation have this disappointment?
Who said we have exited? I hope you heard what the DGMO said. We have just said we will not fire. That doesn't mean we have
There's no
exited.
exit.
We
We are
haven't
still in
exited.
the operation.
That doesn't stop us from going for an offensive in 2 weeks' time if we decide to do.
Yeah, yeah. I just follow Muslim Akbar, 5 Rafale down, confirmed in conference. यार
Your
आपने
I said that when that conference was going on, the radar went down in his own base. So why the hell are you trying to accept this nonsense from your people?
no, they should understand. यार stupid idiot. तुम्हारा हमारा देखो मान लो हमारा 5 Rafale चला दे गया तो तेरा क्या हाल है बेवकूफ तुम्हारा देश चला गया तेरा देश बिखर गया तो नंगा खड़ा है बेवकूफ
Nay,
आदमी
the point is when the guy was telling that I shot 3 Rafales down, etc. There was a
Uh,
bloody bomb outside his briefing room. Nonsense, nonsense.
uh, yeah, yeah. This is the interesting thing. Indians are known for innovation as jugaad genius, especially in using L-70 guns, legacy weapons in modern warfare. Especially countries in Middle East, South Africa, and South America, Africa can utilize these. See, jugaad is not jugaad. Jugaad has got logic, incidentally. Jugaad is very easily used, but actually, if you go into this, the way Jugaad is Indian way of innovation. Okay, it's innovation. At times it works, it doesn't work at times. The management people use Jugaad in a negative manner, but the way we look at it in the forge, Jugaad is good. If you can make do with what you have, I think it's a great thing, and that's what we have done, and that is innovation at the highest level. The fundamental L-70 gun is the same. Ammunition is the same. Okay, it was designed for faster aircraft than the drones. The drones are slower than the Second World War aircraft, right? And you just had to. upgrade their surveillance systems and their control systems and integrate them with the rest, and you have a fantastic weapon system at no cost. The operative thing is no cost. Okay. There's some more. Okay. Could we hit the target because our attack vectors were good or their ADs were bad without going into specific? How do these calculations work?
It works both ways.
Both
Firstly,
ways.
it is our attack vectors were good, our target designations was good, our DMPI selected were correct, and the place and choice of weapon delivery was correct. Of course, their AD was not good enough to intercept them in route. That is also a fact. But the first three, it is majority is our capacity, not depending on their capacity. We were good and efficient to carry out the task that we were designed to do.
See, just to add, we were good and we degraded their AD, and then their AD failed. There are three parts to the story: your ability to do what you want to do, your ability to degrade his air defense, and then that AD failed. Three. All this, you know, makes the whole. Thank you. Really appreciate. And our defense forces, we have full faith in them. God be with them. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. I agree with
So,
you because, yeah.
so I possibly may seek your excuse. I may have to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
out.
please go ahead. Don't worry. I've also done. You please go ahead. Thanks a
It was
lot
fun.
for joining.
It
Thanks a
was
lot
fun.
for joining, and it was a pleasure for me to listen to what you said. And gentlemen, and all those who are listening, thank you. I'll take a few more questions. Up chalo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, let me see if there are any more questions. Yeah, this is very important. DGMO briefing gave indications that the next escalation ladder will involve the Indian Navy. Samudri Tandav loading. Yes, I agree with you. This is something which is very important, which came out. Okay, the last question. My surmise, it's mostly informed conjecture, is that IF managed to hit nuclear stockpile leading to substantial leakage in Pak, and there's alarming intelligence. JD's Vance talks about. Well, all this will happen. We don't know. Let the thing play out, and we'll know what the whole story is. Don't be. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Yeah, Chirantan, how long will will it India Pak return to pre 22, or do you think India Pak relations has moved to uncharted water? It's not uncharted water now; it's charted water. And this in the morning also I said the relationship between India, Pakistan, and China has undergone a permanent change, and that's it. Yeah, I must put this. Like our Pappu celebrating victory with 99 seats, Shabazz is celebrating with a so-called victory for 7 days. Yeah, I suppose so. Leaked message hunts on 10th midnight. India hit Kirana Hills, Sargodha, nuke site in Pakistan, a major explosion called 4.5 mag earthquake, radiation release all over Pak. Pak official India called and surrendered. Let's see. This is all speculation, Hans. Let it come out. No hurry. Yeah, on a lighter note, China has been hard at work reverse engineering the Russians S-300 air defense system. But apparently they took the reverse part a bit too literally, including guidance. I agree with you. Okay. Okay. I think we're done for the day. Uh, we'll see tomorrow morning. Let me see if I can put something across to you guys on the Chinese military. Because that I think is important to understand what how are we going to handle the Chinese military and what should be worried about. Because today also a lot of people have asked me, what about China? What about China? What about China? So let's see what the Chinese military can do. Till then, Thank you. Good evening and Jai Hind to all of you.